Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you very much for you guys to be with us one more time. United States of America, a land of opportunity. Yeah, United States of America, a country where everything happens, where you can find a job, where you can find a life, where you can get your dream becoming true. So, the first team of Africana from South Africa made it to US yesterday. 49 people came up from all the way South Africa to America as refugee. We all know that not any other country, not any other refugee is coming to US at this moment. Since Trump took office, he stopped all the refugee process, but he's allowing Afrikaner who are the white living in South Africa to come into US for the only one reason: they are discriminated, they are killed, they are all the lands are stolen from them. So for that reason, Trump is giving a path to citizenship to anyone from South Africa. The only reason is you gotta be a white living in South Africa and looking forward to live in the US. You are allowed, and a first team of 49 already here. Everybody wanna live here, right? Everybody wanna come to US. Everybody want to get a small piece of this pie. It makes sense 100%. Everybody's dreaming to come here, to live, to work, to raise a family, and so on. So those guys are already here. Good for them. I don't blame them. I don't blame the community. I can blame maybe the process, but given that everyone is looking to come and make it in the US, good for them. Good for them. We're going to see what the opposition say about it in the US. We're also going to see what the number one podcast, the number one African American podcast in New York, say about it. So stay with us, and we're gonna have fun. Thank you.
Sworn in President Trump signed an executive order, effectively stopping any refugees from being allowed to come and resettle in the United States. Now, there's an act passed by Congress called the Refugee Act, which allows for as many as 125,000 refugees in this fiscal year, people who can prove they're being persecuted or fear persecution because of race or religion or political beliefs. And nowhere near that number has been allowed in by the time Mr. Trump took office and shut it all down. But just a few weeks later, President Trump announced that he was making an exception. And not only that, he would expedite the processing of refugee claims by one group of people from Africa. Now, you might think it's some women and children who've been maybe sexually assaulted in the conflict in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, a place that's seen fighting for decades. On this program, we reported on the violence, the plight of people there in a series of programs in 2006.
What has gone on here is simply extraordinary. Over the last 10 years here, there has been major fighting between a number of different groups. It has been the deadliest war in our lifetime, the deadliest war since World War II. Some 3 to 4 million people have died in this country, and their deaths have virtually gone unnoticed.
And there's a whole new round of fighting that's been going on in eastern Congo between the government and an armed group called M23. Thousands have died, hundreds of thousands displaced, and widespread reports of sexual violence against women. But President Trump hasn't allowed refugees from there here, nor from Sudan, where there's been terrible fighting. The only Africans President Trump has paved a quick path for are these South Africans. And yes, they are white. They are Afrikaners, descendants of Dutch settlers to South Africa. This is the first group of people granted refugee status to enter the U.S. since the president entered his second term. On February 7th, President Trump signed this executive order carving out an exception for the Afrikaners, the white minority who created the racist apartheid regime in South Africa and ruled there cruelly and brutally until 1994. When black South Africans, the overwhelming majority of South Africans, were allowed to vote for the first time, and they voted for that man, Nelson Mandela. Afrikaners took land from black people in South Africa, repressed them, and in the 3 decades since the end of apartheid, they still have all the land they took. Black South Africans, who make up over 80% of the population, still only own around 4% of private land. Now, President Trump was asked why these Afrikaners were allowed to enter the U.S.
Why are you creating an expedited path into the country for Afrikaners but not others?
Because they're being killed, and We don't want to see people be killed. It's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place. And farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me. But white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they talk about it. That would be the only story they talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation taking place. So we've essentially extended citizenship to those people and to escape from that violence and come here.
The idea that there's a genocide of white farmers going on in South Africa is just not true. It's absurd. And that's been debunked by a number of organizations, both inside and outside of South Africa. But it's become a rallying cry for the some right-wing elements inside the country, and has echoed all the way to America. Let me just go back to Sudan for a moment. An actual genocide has happened there, according to the U.S., as two warring factions battled for control of that country earlier this year. The U.S. accused one side, the RSF, of committing genocide. More than 11 million people have been internally displaced, while millions more have fled the country. That's according to the UN. They aren't allowed to be refugees here. And on top of this, the Afghans who worked alongside U.S. troops during the war as interpreters and guides and fixers, Afghans who fought for the United States, helped save American lives, and were allowed here under a temporary protected status. Well, now we learn that status is not going to be renewed next week, according to the Department of Homeland Security, which means many who helped save U.S. lives may be deported starting in July. Joining us now is New York Times columnist Nicholas Kristof. Nick, you say this whole situation upside down. The idea that there's a genocide of white farmers. I mean, why do you think the Trump administration is doing this?
Well, I mean, he's completely turned refugee policy upside down in ways that reflect racial discrimination. I mean, he's not, the Africana farmers are not suffering from that. It is true that some have been murdered, but black farmers have been murdered at even higher rates. And
right, there's a huge crime rate. Crime rate in South Africa, crime is a huge problem. But according to organizations there's been no forcible taking back of confiscation of land at this point.
Not at all. And, it is true that there was legislation passed in January that theoretically creates an opportunity to confiscate some land without compensation. That has not been implemented. Nobody has had their land taken away. And, these Afrikaners are among the most privileged people on the entire continent. They are they are assets, or the white South Africans have assets 20 times greater than those of black South Africans on average. And, you just mentioned Sudan, the world's probably worst humanitarian crisis right now. In Sudan, I've seen a man who had his eyes gouged out as a reflection of that genocide with a bayonet. In Congo, which you also mentioned, I saw children who were gang raped because of their ethnicity. That is the world's worst mass atrocity since World War II. In Myanmar, I talked to a Rohingya mom who had her baby pulled from her arms and thrown into a bonfire. That is plausibly a genocide. But none of those people have any right to be accepted to come to the U.S. as refugees. And instead, we bring in, a group of people who don't remotely qualify as refugees. But what distinguishes them is that they are white. And as the son of a refugee, I just find this makes a mockery of the entire principle of refugee status.
Also, the U.S. actually cut off its economic assistance to South Africa over this as well. So it's not just not letting black South Africans in or other people from other parts of the continent. There's now a cutoff of aid for HIV medication. I think South Africa gets about 17%.
One thing that I want to say is this. This is this media right here supports the opposition party in U.S. You see when they go over and talk about Congo, Sudan, and all those issues. It would be very nice if they've been talking about this before Trump take the action. Okay, I will appreciate that very much if they've been really really talking about those issues and try to fix those issues before Trump do that. They was really not talking about M23 and Congo issues before this. They was really not talking about Sudan before this, and they still don't. They just started to talk about it because Trump did the action. So they're not helping anyway. They are not helping because those issues was there before. Let's try to fix this problem. Don't worry about refugees. Keep them over there if you want, but let's try to fix those problems. Not trying to just go over whatever we want to go over to influence opinions, but fix those issues. That's what I would say. For the people who want to come to US, white, African, black, whatever, everyone want to come here. Everybody want to come here. So for them, good for them. But some of them may even end up going back where they came from. They're gonna find out how hard it is to live in this country. They're gonna find out how difficult they're gonna have to work and pay tax and pretty much do nothing as investment and maybe go back to invest in South Africa because they had a big lands, big properties, so they can really make up something. So yeah, we see. And the secondary is you gotta have the money. All this was from the Trump advisor. Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a white man from South Africa. So once he got that praise. Once he got in Trump ear, he told him what's going on, and he told him whatever he wanted to do. So those are the community where maybe he grew up. That's where the family maybe is right now. So all of this, it's not like Trump was really following the news about what's going on in South Africa. No, no, not at all. But that's Elon Musk trying to do whatever he's doing to separate white and black in South Africa. And remember, he's the number one rich man on the world. So he can do whatever he wants, and he's still able to do more. So, Africa, fix your issues. Don't depend on anyone. Do not run for refugee program. Don't run for uh, HIV, AIDS. No, fix your issues. Fix your issues. That's it. That's it. So that's what I would say right now. But let's go to United States of America, Africa. Let's go to African American. Let's see what the number one podcast, African American in America, say. To see white people coming as refugee in this country. I really want to see what they say, and I hope you're gonna love it. 1 second. Okay, this is Breakfast Club in New York, the most really followed and the most enjoyable podcast of African American in America. Let's see what they say about these issues.
Morning, Morgan. Sorry for the time.
Nah, you good. Let's just get right into it. How y'all doing? We good?
Yes.
All right. All right, so I'm gonna just move on. All right. So more than 4 dozen Afrikaners have come into the U.S. and President Trump, he pretty much funded it. A group of 49 white Afrikaners who were granted refugee status by the Trump administration departed South Africa on Sunday night and landed Dulles International Airport in Northern Virginia on Monday. Now, President Trump signed an executive order in February granting an exception, claiming minority Afrikaners were being treated unfairly in South Africa. During a press conference yesterday, a reporter asked, why are you creating an expedited path into the U.S. for white South African refugees, especially during a time of U.S. citizenship, and be eligible for government benefits? And for those who don't know, apartheid was a system of legalized racial segregation and discrimination.
Well, I'm just curious to see why those 4 individuals, why those 4 Africans are allowed in the country and nobody else is allowed in the country.
White Africans.
Yeah, 4 white
40
Africans.
it's-
You're right.
It's 49 of them.
Oh, 49 of them. But why?
Yeah, it's 49.
But why?
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal with that? Because you're so into getting people out the country.
So you're gonna be surprised. One of these girls was not even aware of white people living in Africa. Like most people here doesn't even know what is Africa. They will tell you that Africa is a country, what is African language, whatever. So this girl right here, she's a very smart girl, but she missed one thing. She didn't know South Africa has a bunch of white people. They thought white people are only in America and Europe. Watch.
That's not here the right way and
Absolutely.
this, that, and the other, but you let these 4 dozen white Africaners come in. It doesn't even make sense.
Is it
Maybe they
only
have
49?
vibranium.
Oh my gosh. Is it
Nobody-
only 49 white Africans over there in African? Because I didn't know that they were white Africans. What?
Yeah, in South Africa there are white Africans.
Elon
they're
Musk is a white
African.
African.
Shut
Yeah, he is a
up.
white.
That's
He
a
is
fact.
white.
Yes,
South Africa.
He's from
Yes.
South Africa.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh
he
my
is.
God.
That might be all his family.
But basically, they're saying it's racist. It's racism. They're
Yeah.
being treated unfairly by their government, and they're fleeing their country because of unfair treatment and racism.
Cooper
against them.
Flag is a white African too. Did y'all know that?
So she just say it. She just say it. They fleeing because of racism. The same way Black American claiming about being really discriminated in this country by white people. So the same issues is in South Africa. White people are discriminated by the majority Black people. She just say it, and that's what they say. So is that true? We need to find out.
Cooper Flag is?
Yeah. Y'all didn't know that, did you?
I don't know, but if that was true, I can't trust you.
You had to think about
I
it,
had to
right?
think about that.
You like, damn, he
Think about
can't
that.
ball.
He can't ball. He can't back. He can't play ball. And he's tall. And he's
That
tall.
makes sense,
There's
right?
always an exception.
People gonna be mad. People gonna be mad at me because I did not know that.
That there was white
Yes,
Africans.
I know the white Africans are very coming me like, you did not know? Like, no, I did not know.
I don't think they talk like that.
Oh,
though.
so they talk white still?
I've never heard a white African talk like that though.
All right,
The
call up,
South
y'all.
African accent is a little different.
Call
though,
you
but-
want the white Africans to call up?
Yeah, I wanna-
Call up a few white Africans.
Jesus Christ. All right. Well, Morgan, we'll see you next hour.
I like that. I like that. So that's just in general what it is. And if you don't like that, I mean, what else you're gonna do? For South Africa, Black people, fix your issues. That's it. Let them go. Let Trump take every one of them. Then you're gonna get your rent. Okay, before I let you go, I wanna tell you this. Trump in Saudi Arabia right now, he's making a lot of noise in Israel today because Israel was expecting Trump to visit the country before any other country. But Trump, as usual, you never know what he's doing. You will never know what is on his mind. So he traveled to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and one more country in Middle East. And on his list, Israel is not there. So the Prime Minister of Israel and the whole government are not happy about it. I can tell you 100%. No one is happy in Israel about it because the Saudi Arabia said they were not going to be able to normalize with Israel without Palestine state. And Trump making this trip to Saudi Arabia without going to Israel first is not good for Israel. And everybody is asking question, what is going on? Watch.
Breaking news this morning, President Trump arriving in Saudi Arabia on his first major overseas visit of his second term. Air Force One getting an escort by Saudi F-15 fighter jets, and the president getting a royal welcome on the tarmac from the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Trump then traveled by motorcade to the Saudi royal court for a more formal greeting. Saudi Arabia is the first stop on his 4-day swing through the Middle East, the trip giving Trump a chance to prove himself as a deal maker on the world stage. He's set to speak later today after attending a lunch with some of the world's top CEOs, including Elon Musk and the leaders of OpenAI, Google, Boeing, Amazon, NVIDIA, and Coca-Cola. Trump will also visit Qatar and the UAE on this trip, and it comes as he's defending his administration's plan to accept a $400 million luxury jet from the Qataris to use as Air Force One, a prospect that's raising all kinds of ethical, legal, and security questions. CNN's Jeff Zeleny is traveling with the president and joins us now live from Riyadh. It had already been a really busy trip. What is the president focused on here as we see new pictures this morning of him and the leader of Saudi Arabia?
Good morning, Sarah. President Trump arriving here overnight to a fanfare in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, exactly how he would like it. Met with trumpets, American flags, Saudi flags as well, and escorted all along the way by the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who, of course, is a close.
So Trump knows what is time for business, and also he knows what is time for politics. So he's going in Middle East for business trip. It's not a political. It's not only a political trip. If you look at it, because Qatar and Saudi Arabia are going to invest heavily in the United States of America, and also he traveled with these big companies owner in America to Saudi Arabia, meaning there is very, very much benefit to the United States of America than Israel in this trip. So when Trump talking about more investment to America, America first, that's what he's doing. And for taxpayer in America, it's good for you. It's good for you in that matter. Because of what? The more we get investment in the US, the more he's going to cut tax, as I said. But you will be surprised tomorrow when Trump go for another trip, another political trip, and turn upside down all he's doing it right now because he's unpredictable. So we don't know what he's trying to do, but Trump is changing all the political platform we knew. He said we don't keep bombing Houthis. Israel didn't like that. He said, I'm going to negotiate with Hamas to give me the American hostage without Israel. They didn't like that. He said, no, we're not going to bomb Iran nuclear facilities. Israel, they didn't like that. So we don't know where U.S. stand now when it comes to Israel. Obviously, it's like they're going back to Obama and Biden plan when they have to normalize Israel and Middle East. They don't only focus on Israel, they focus on a peace in a region. Obviously, that's what Trump is trying to do. And when Biden was trying to do the same thing, the Republican was complaining a lot about him, saying that Biden is now putting a lot of pressure on Iran and the Houthis. But Trump is doing the same. Why? Because when you are president, you're not gonna like to have this much war because they're gonna go on your name. When you leave the presidency, those people who are killed will be on your name. That's what's happened to the president, the president Obama when they attacked Libya. The name Obama still comes up when we're talking about Libya. Okay, that's what happened every time. The name Sarkozy, who was the president of France, still comes up when you talk about what happened in Libya. So that's what happened, and that's what's going on. And we hope we're going to get peace, and we're going to do business with these countries, which is going to be good for all of us, for all the world, because these are the most rich country in the world. So I'm waiting to see Trump going to African continent. Is that going to happen? Maybe not. But Trump is unpredictable. He already sent Marco Rubio in Congo to meet with M23 and the government of Congo to make peace. So we hope he's going to bring peace to the whole world. And we just have to wait and see. So for you who was with us, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Like the video, share the video. For those who has not subscribed yet, please go ahead and consider to subscribe. We will appreciate that. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Bye.